What's up, guys? Scott from Second Blocks here, and this time around I have a response video for you guys. Recently I was tagged by my good buddy Nintenjoel back here, and this tag actually originated, I believe, with the Game Hunters Leaf and COE 33, and basically the question was, what is your top 10 memorable games? Not necessarily your favorite games, but games that molded you as a gamer or was memorable to you. So in honor of this tag, I had to answer. So it took me a while actually to get this list of my own. I went through some emotional roller coasters because of the situation with some of these games, and you guys will find out in a minute. But there was some happy memories I went back through, there's some sad memories, and I wanted this to be like legit, I wanted this to actually be raw, uncut, and so you guys knew a little bit about my past in gaming. So let's talk about it. So the first game that I'm going to mention, I'm sure that you guys that follow me on Twitter or that are good friends with me already know this, but the first game I had ever played was Spider-Man 2600. If you guys don't know what it is, it's on the Atari. You guys remember the graphics for those who grew up with it. Really blocky, really, simplistic gameplay, but an awesome game on the Atari 2600. Basically in the game, you're Spider-Man, and you're supposed to, climb to the top of the tower and save people and stuff. And just a really, 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 really good time. Simplistic gameplay, but it stuck with me because this was the first game I had ever seen on a television or game in general ever. I was about 3 years old, and my mom actually owned a heavy sixer, with the wood grain, and she had the whole, case for it. There was this big plastic case it sat in, and there was a row for games, and then it had this plastic sheath casing to go over top of it. And I remember we had, if I had to think back, we had, the little tennis paddles, and I had a joystick and another joystick, but it was like a flight sim joystick that worked with it, and just several different things like that. And of all people, my mom owned it, and I thought it was pretty awesome. We had several other games, but this was the first game I remember from memory ever seeing, and it just blew me away with what video games could do. And I had to mention it. Moving along a couple years, shortly after my mom had got with my two exes back, stepdads, and we had moved from one town to another, and I didn't have any friends or anything, and I didn't really like the kids. I was kind of picked on a lot in that school, and it was summertime the one year right after we had moved there, and they knew that we were bored and stuff. And I have very few memories of my mom, unfortunately, actually doing some really good things for me and my brother and sister. But we went yard sailing one year, and I remember that her husband and her had picked up this giant tote that was full of Nintendo games, and it had an NES, and it had the gray zapper, the orange zapper, the console, 3 controllers, the NES Advantage was there, like I said, several games and everything. And amongst one of those games was Mystery Quest. And I know you guys are thinking, what, no Mario? Yes, we had Mario 1, 2, 3 in this lot. There was Top Gun. There was several other games. But I remember having a blast with this game. None of my other family members liked it. My sister played it a little bit, but I actually fell in love with it. I know a lot of people have talked crap on it. I know a little while back, Do Your Nerd, I believe Tom, if I remember, had mentioned about this, and I watched a video where he wasn't really sure what to do in the game and stuff, and I was talking a little bit about it, in the comments, whatever, about it. But I would dare to call it a Zelda clone, but it's really not. It's an adventure game, yes, an action adventure type game, but it's basically a fetch quest / key grab, open doors type game. Really fun, I think. Simplistic, once again. It's not the greatest title, obviously, on the NES, but it is very memorable to me. The next game, my third game that I'm going to pick, actually starts the sentimental, like, sadness part of part of this video. And that's because, unfortunately, me and my brother do not talk. We're not on speaking terms. He chose a really bad path in life that I could not agree with, unfortunately. I love him still as a brother, you know, from afar, but his life choices now, he is not the same person, and he lost himself, in my opinion, unfortunately. But anyway, that's enough of that. But I hold on to the memories that we had as kids, and before things went sour, we had video games since the beginning of our time. You know, we had video games there between me and him. And one of the first games I ever remember playing with my brother was Kung Fu Heroes. Once again, I know it's another game that gets sort of flack, but I personally think this game is absolutely amazing. You just got to know what to do. Basically, each level, you know, you got to fight off the monsters and kill monsters, and then, you know, wait for the timer to count down, and you gotta, as soon as you clear the screen and everything, and it's time to go, you'll see the doorway, you know, blink and sound off. If I remember, it's been a while since I played, but I believe it's like a beep, like a beeping sound. And you got to get to the exit. Both characters have to get inside the doorway for you to be able to pass. So you both have to do it if you're working multiplayer. If you're single player, obviously by yourself. But we always played a heck of a lot of multiplayer. And, you know, you progress by going through the door. Each stage, you know, you go to a new stage, new enemies and stuff. And then it gets harder as you progress, and it keeps going. This game, I believe, is on Switch. So I believe it is actually on there. So if you want to try it out. But yes, this is one of my favorite Nintendo games for that reason alone. My next game is also a part of the same era with my brother, and that is Double Dragon 2: The Revenge. This game here has like one of the most nostalgic values for me and the most sentimental to me, because out of all the games that I ever played with my brother, we put thousands, and I'm not even kidding, thousands of hours into this. Just, you know, going through the levels, beating the crap out of enemies, taking the bosses down at the end of each stage. And I can remember, I think it's the second stage. Everybody that has played this knows what I mean with the helicopter. You sort of get, like, you jump on top of this building, and then a helicopter comes down, and, like, it'll start shooting you. You gotta duck and go under, make sure you don't get hit by the bullets. But then enemies come out of the helicopter down the top of the skyscraper. And I remember that you pass that, whatever. At the end of it, I don't know why this sticks in my mind, but me and my brother always saw that, like, where the text was, and it said grasp, you know. And I don't know why that sticks in my mind, but I remember at every single time we played that, hundreds of times, we always look at each other and go, grasp. And I don't know why, it's something dumb, but yeah, this game holds a lot of sentimental value to me as well. Me and my brother played it together, and I really miss those memories with him. The next game here is, you know, obviously I'm Scott from Sega Block, so there had to be some Sega in here. But that game is Golden Axe. Golden Axe for me is probably my favorite Genesis game, and for good reason too. Not only did I play this by myself a million times, and it took me until this year to actually beat this game. It was the beginning of, well, not this year, but last year, I'm sorry, 2021. I believe that I had beat it in January, so it's about a year ago now, and I actually completed it for the first time ever. And it took me, I was 31 then, so it took me 31 years, almost 32 years to complete it. But I have a lot of nostalgia for this one. It's probably the Genesis game that I put the most time into. Another game that me and my brother also played together. I have the standalone, obviously, edition cart, and I'm complete in box. But when I was a kid, we had the 6-pack. I still own it now. But me and my brother played that version over and over. Another game that we played together, and this just has a lot of sentimental value to me as well. My favorite Genesis game. The next game here is sort of another different kind of sentimental value. So for years, I wanted a Game Boy, you know, but a Game Boy Color when the Game Boy Color came out. My mom refused to do it. My mom was a very selfish person. Not saying that I deserved it by any means, or any of us kids deserved, you know, things like that. I'm not saying that. But I wanted one so bad. My mom wouldn't buy it. My mom wouldn't buy it. She, you know, during holidays, she'd get me really, you know, okay things, but like really chintzy stuff. And then she would go and buy herself and her husband like really ritzy things. But I begged and I begged and I begged for a Game Boy, and it didn't come, and it didn't come for like 3 years straight. And I really wanted one. And finally, my dad's mom, my grandma on my father's side, had one for me for Christmas that year. I can't remember what year it was. I don't remember if it was like 97 or 98, whatever year it was. And I finally got my Game Boy Color. It was the teal blue edition. Matter of fact, I have that one right here. It's not the one I had from my childhood, but it is the one that I had from back then. So that Game Boy came for Christmas, and the only game that came with it was Wario Land 3. If nobody knows, this was a spinoff from the Super Mario Land games, and it turned into Wario Land. This is my favorite Wario Land game. Captain Algebra, I know you didn't like this game. Shame on you. It's not that you didn't like it, but you thought it was, I think you said that you thought it was like the weakest of the games. But this is my favorite Wario Land game. And, you know, I just love it because, you know, it's like you get to play as Wario in like a Mario, you know, Mario World type setting, and all kinds of puzzles, and the zombie, you know, ability, and just different abilities you get in here. Just amazing. And there's like mini golf levels where you're Wario and you hit the enemy into like the hole for a hole-in-one and stuff. And it's really awesome. But I just love this game, and I always will. And I have a lot of memories, and the reason it's sentimental to me is because my grandma actually took the time to buy me that Game Boy, and it has meant a lot ever since. I wish I still had my original Game Boy, but unfortunately my parents sold it when things got tight when I was a kid. But I will always hold this in my heart. The next game is another game that's sort of sentimental. So later on down the road, you know, when the PlayStation came out, and well, not came out, but when we actually got the PlayStation in my house, my mom had wanted one and bought one, and we had it in the house. And one of the games that were bought, my mom's husband wanted to play it, and my mom thought us kids would like it too, and that was Sled Storm. So me and my brother, another game, we put countless amount of times in this, just racing back and forth. And what we used to do was, there was no, I believe, it's been a while, but I believe there was no actual time limit on these, so you could just go until you completed the race. And I remember me and my brother would go through the laps that you had to do, like whatever set laps, 3 or 5 laps, you know, around the tracks. But we would purposely not finish the race. We'd get the whole way around, and then we'd go in reverse, so no one finished the race. Remember, we used to do that, and then we used to actually beat the game and play the races. But the soundtrack, man, with Rob Zombie and everybody, you know, Dragula and all that stuff that's on this game is just absolutely phenomenal. Really great soundtrack, great racing, and who doesn't like extreme sports types of games? But yeah, this is a game I had to put on there because I had so many memories. One of the games I probably put the most time in on the PlayStation 1 as a kid, and it's just a phenomenal game. Here you can see I have the collector's edition, not the original that I had when I was a kid, unfortunately, once again. But yeah, really, really awesome game. The next game is actually a game that I feel kind of saved my life in a way. Once again, I said that my mom had bought a PlayStation 1, and we had several games. One of the games that she bought for herself, and eventually got tired of and didn't want the PlayStation anymore because she had moved on to PC gaming and stuff, and had actually gave me and my brother the PlayStation as a hand-me-down. And I remember that things got really bad after a while in my house. You know, it was a broken home, and people were fighting all the time, and my brother was threatening to move with his father, and my mom and brother were fighting all the time. And it was just a really bad time as a kid, you know, for me. So I used to stay in my room a lot when I was home, and this game here was my escape. I was determined to beat it when I was younger, and I did, and I've played this game about, you guys know I talk about it all the time. It's my #1 favorite game of all time, but I don't have it in this video because it's my favorite. I have it in this video because if it wasn't for this game and me being able, when I had to be there in that situation, this was my escape, and I feel like it saved my life in a way because I don't know what would have happened if I would have had to stay around and stick around with all that stuff. Sorry if I'm getting a little teary-eyed and emotional over it, but this game truly did, in a way, save my life, and it just means a lot to me. It was my escape from Hellview, so to speak. Okay, so moving on again. The next game that I want to mention is Diablo 3 on the 360. And the reason that this is on my list, this is my number 9 spot, and the reason that this is on my list is because one of my best friends in real life, Cursed Penguin, my buddy Bobby, he and I, oh man, the hours that we put into this playing multiplayer through was just amazing when this game came out. I've been a lifelong Diablo fan, but the 360 meant a lot to me, only because, you know, like playing games together and being able to play Diablo with Bobby and everything. And if you're watching this, I want to tell you thank you, you know, from the bottom of my heart, from all the memories that we have together and stuff. It has meant a lot over the years. But we put countless amount of hours in this, you know, taking on Belial, Baal, all the baddies, and obviously Diablo and everything. And, you know, it was just a really awesome time. Me with my barbarian, he was always a witch doctor, and it was just really freaking awesome. But yeah, really good memories. I had to make it my number 9 spot. My number 10 spot, and these games were not in any particular order, just was picking 10 of the most memorable to me and what meant something to me. But my number 10 is actually a recent memory of mine that meant a lot, was because right when the pandemic happened, a lot of stuff had went down in my personal life that really kind of destroyed me as a person there for a while. And I had an old channel, and I completely got rid of it because of certain events in life. And I had left Facebook and other social media, and I just, you know, I was ready to give up. I honestly was ready to give up. And I gave it one more shot, you know, like people were telling me not to, like my wife and stuff were telling me, you know, don't give up, like there's life out there and stuff, and you know, we have family, and just my daughter and everybody kept me going and told me, you know, don't give up. So I gave it one more shot, and I'm glad I did, because I met a really good friend through Twitter, and then eventually through YouTube and in real life. Talked to him basically every day, and that's my buddy Ren. Everybody, you guys know him as Hallowed Be Thy Game. And the game that I want to mention is Persona 5 Royal. This game actually, I'm not going to lie, actually changed my life. I had never played an RPG like this game. But Ren, you came into my life during a really bad time. You turned my life around. You were one of the first people amongst, and also I want to give a shout out to Incredible One. You two were the first people to, you know, open up and give me a chance, and you guys are like family to me. I want to thank you both. But Ren, this game here, just you mentioning it and telling me I needed to play this, you were like, dude, you got to play this. I'm telling you, it's one of the best JRPGs you had ever played. I need to experience it, and I did. Usually it wasn't my go-to like type story, you know, the whole school setting and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, I checked it out, and I'm glad I did. It blew my mind. Just like the whole, you know, like Phantom Thieves and the story behind each character, and, you know, like each boss that you go through and the storylines behind them, and the school setting and everything, you know, and all the real life struggles and, you know, things that people go through that they touch upon in this game was just absolutely stellar and amazing and crazy at the same time. It absolutely blew me away. It's one of the games that I had ever put that much time into. I'm still currently playing it. I have not beat this one yet because I wanted to take a break because it was a long game, and I got myself into another long game, but I am going to go back to this. I have about, I think, 80 hours, I believe, into this game, because, you know, I like to do side quests. I like to do, you know, the different missions and extra stuff. But yeah, really awesome game. Blew my mind. One of my favorite JRPGs now to date. And I want to thank you, Ren. And I want to thank anybody mentioned in this video. And I want to thank you to the viewers, because, yeah, just like have molded me as a gamer. And another side note and a shout out to my buddies, Dave, LAMEDAD, Seth at Tiger Chainsaw, and Marcelo from GameCube Galaxy. These guys also are a big important part of my current life. You know, the one game that, even though it was like kind of crappy, we had played Back for Blood, and even though the game sucked balls and was stupid difficult, We had a lot of fun, a lot of laughs, many weekends together, and it was just awesome. But yeah, I want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Joel, for tagging me. But now it's my turn to tag. So I'm going to go ahead and tag David, the lame dad. I want to tag you. I also want to tag GEORDIE Slasher Gaming. And I also want to tag Gen Pixel. So there's my 3 picks. I want to see you guys' responses. What are your top 10 memorable video games of all time? And you guys know the drill. Thanks for watching. Stay awesome.